We're now going to look at entering a supplier payment. This can be found in the supplier module under supplier payment and option 308 new supplier payment. There's a couple of different ways to enter payments on Enterprise. I will show you both and then you can obviously work out which is the best one. So 308 is a new supplier payment. This is the option that you will use if you need to pay a supplier upfront based on a pro forma. Therefore, there'll be no invoice to match it up to. You will just put the payment on, and then when you get the tax invoice from the supplier, you'll put that on afterwards. So if we needed to pay the toy warehouse £120 up front, what we would do is double click on the supplier. We can see which bank account the payment is coming out of. That can be changed at that point if you require. If we tab down to the date field, we can see it's got today's date. That's fine, we will leave that as that. The payment reference, in there I would type in the pro forma number, and then the amount will be the total amount that you are paying, the total amount including VAT. When we save this, the system will give it a pay number. There will be nothing to allocate that transaction to because we know there is no invoice on the supplier account. If there were invoices, we would see them down the bottom of this screen here. What we can see here, we've got the View Journal button. So we can see on the creditors control account, that's debited it 120 and credited the bank £120. We can close that. As I say, we've not got anything to allocate it to at this moment in time, so we'll just close out of that window. If we just click the refresh option at the top of the screen, we can see here now the balance on that supplier account is minus £120. What we will do now is we will just go and pay the telephone and internet supplier, and we will do it through this same screen so you can see how this one works and how we can allocate, and then we will have a look at the quick payment option. If we double click on the telephone and internet supplier, we will leave the bank account as it is and tab down to the date. We can leave that as it is because the money is coming out today. If you were going to pay them by credit card, then you might want to just change it up here to say credit card or PayPal, however you're actually paying them. I'm just going to do this as backs, and I'm going to type in £180. You can see the invoice at the bottom of the screen, but I can't actually allocate it at this point. This is just showing me what invoices are outstanding on that supplier account. We don't need to click the save option, however we can do if we want to. If we save it, we can see it gets payment number 2, but what we could have done was just click straight onto the allocate tab. As we click on the allocate tab, that will automatically save the payment. So even if you come into this screen and you don't allocate it, it will still put on the supplier payment. What we can see here, we've got our payment, which is ticked automatically because we've just put it on. We then need to pick which invoices we're going to allocate this to. Now we've only got the one, so it's quite easy for me to tick that. The allocation date is quite important. The allocation date is used for your retrospective reporting. We can see here we've got the 16th of January and the 16th of January. So both transactions happened on the same day. However, if I try to change that date to be the 1st of January, we can see we get a message saying the allocation date cannot be older than the most recent debit transaction. If this was dated the 1st of January and this was dated the 31st of December, then the allocation has to be dated the 1st of January. Therefore, when you're looking at your age creditors report, the invoice is showing outstanding in December. It was only paid in January. Change the allocation date back to the 16th. Once we're happy with that, we can click save. We can see as we've saved it, it gives it an S alloc number. That is a supplier allocation, and it's the first allocation that's happened. We can see we've got a print option. If we click print, what this allows us to do is send a remittance advice to the supplier. I'm just going to print preview that for the moment. We can see the remittance advice, we can see the address, we can see the transaction, and we can see the total that we've paid. You can email these off. If you're paying by backs, you don't really want to have to print them out, put them in the post and send them. You would only really do that if you were sending something by cheque, because you've got to post something anyway. We can click email, and click print, and that will send it off. And that email address there, click the supplier details and go to the setup tab. Whoever is the account's contact name there, it will pull the email address from them. So if we just create, for example, a new contact, and then we change the account contact here to Natalie and save and close. If we click print again, we can see the email address that is now pulling through for the remittance advice is Natalie. If we click the mail button, we can see in the outbox there was the one that we sent to Harry. We just need to update the subject on that particular document so it goes out to the supplier saying it's a remittance advice. So that is the new supplier payment. What we do have is a quick payment run. Now a lot of people will prefer this because they want to just select the invoices that they're paying rather than work out how much they're going to pay.